Okay, so this video is going to be sort of reminiscent of my old TikTok where I sat in my room and yapped about social justice issues. But today I went to this presentation. For my first year seminar, I have to do 2 service activities, and this week the volunteer club at my school was doing a bunch of activities for Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And the presentation I went to was about the prison system and how natural disasters affect incarcerated people. And the information I found out was just absolutely disgusting, and I thought that it was important that people know about it. In a way, I'm not surprised because I know our justice system is not, but also just is just absolutely fucking insane. So basically, when there are hurricanes or other natural disasters where people could potentially need to evacuate, the prison employees will evacuate, but they will just leave the incarcerated people in their cells with compromised drinking water, little to no food, sewage overflowing, flooding. And the guards that are left are instructed to shoot on site if they see somebody attempting to evacuate. Now keep in mind, a lot of these people are incarcerated for very small offenses like marijuana possession or being drunk in public or something like that. They're not really violent offenders. This is just fucking insane to me because how are you gonna treat another human being like that? So I just wanted to come on here and rant about that because I found that absolutely appalling. Okay, I have to go to class. Bye, guys.
A man who was wrongly charged for being intoxicated while driving has agreed to an almost $400,000 settlement after he accused 2 Iowa City police officers for negligence and false arrest. Now, despite taking both a urine analysis test and a breathalyzer, both of which showed that he did not have alcohol in his system, 2 Iowa City police officers charged him with driving under the influence. Now, despite the lack of evidence, he was held in jail for almost 3 months before the charges were finally dropped. This caused him to lose his job and his apartment, and it delayed treatment that he was supposed to be receiving for a TBI. So, like I've asked in other videos, is $400,000 enough?
More shocking things about law enforcement you probably didn't know. They have each agency, district attorney's office, state attorney's office has a private police diversion program for crimes committed by police officers. You always wonder why police crimes are never reported. You would think that there would be more other than just killing unarmed black people. But in actuality, they commit tons of crimes and they get caught for tons of crimes. I know this because I used to represent police officers. And the first time I found out about the police diversion program, quite frankly, I was mortified. It made me sick to my stomach to know that these cops are getting a break that normal people who commit crimes don't get. So you can be a criminal cop and keep working.
Okay, so you get a call, cop's telling you he just wants to hear your side of the story. Don't take the bait. Of course he wants to hear your side of the story because that way he knows exactly how to deal with that story. Keep your mouth shut. Don't trust the police. They are not there for you. They do not have your best interests at heart.
So ask me anything, guys. You can take a look at my page.
They're allowed to lie, and they don't have our interest in mind and enforce policy and code.
That's a big reason. They are allowed to lie. I'll tell that to a lot of people, man. It just don't seem kind of fair. If you give them a squirrely answer, they're going to charge you with obstruction. But yet they're allowed to lie to you, and they do lie. They lie during the course of their investigation. They're allowed to tell you anything, particularly on roadside stops. And I talk about that a lot on this platform, roadside stops, or just about anything. They're allowed to lie to you. They have, according to the courts, they are allowed to lie. They cannot abuse you. They cannot threaten you with bodily harm. That's wrong, but they can lie to you. But, if you do that, you're probably going to have a problem.
The Irish justice system failed me today. please take a minute to watch this video. I will try and be as quick as I can. But I do think it's important, the message that I want to get out. I'd really, really like if you take a minute to watch. The Irish justice system failed me today. I appeared in court for an application of a safety order against an ex-partner of mine. I didn't feel safe. I'm not going to name and shame. That's not what this is about. I'm also not going to go into too much detail when it comes to the abuse that I endured. I will say that I went to court prepared. I had video evidence. I had witness statements. I had a witness on hand to testify. I had police reports from another country where alleged crimes were committed against another victim, and then when on bail, he fled the country, evading justice for that victim. The warrants are still in place, and he is currently wanted in that country. I was told this was irrelevant. They didn't want to see the video footage. They didn't want to hear my witness testimony. They didn't want to read my witness statements. They ignored my pleas to keep me safe. They protected my abuser, and I was silenced. As I said, though, this video isn't about him or I. It's not about what I endured. It's not about my story. It's about those after me. Those that are suffering abuse now. Those that may experience it in the future. Those that know someone that might be experiencing abuse. I ask and beg that you document everything. You get photos, you get screenshots, you get statements, you log dates, you log times. If you think it's minor, it's not minor. If it affects the way you feel, it is not minor. You write it down. If you, as soon as you feel that that line is crossed into abuse, you write it down. You document everything. If you have to hide a notepad at work, you document it. I was prepared today. And even though I had all of that information, I was told it was irrelevant. I did, however, get to stand there and tell my story and look my abuser in the face and say, you abused me for the duration of our relationship. From this moment on, all I can do is help, support, advocate, and speak up for other victims who are ignored and their abusers protected. It's seen in every country and culture, not just where I live. Local elections are currently taking place in Ireland, so I ask that you vote for those that you think will make a difference. Vote for those that you feel will fight for the people that can't fight for themselves. Vote for those that you know will make a difference and make change. I can't fight for justice for myself or the women before me, but I can fight for change. The Irish justice system failed me today. I have been silenced. So instead, I will speak for those that have no voice. Thank you.
I want to publicly say this to the Trinidad Police Service. You all sent somebody to try to shut me up. I just realized that a lot of the things that person was telling me was lies down to even his name. You all sent somebody to DM me and tell me they wanted to get justice for me. Tell me they were autistic like me. Somebody to gain my trust. And then hurt me so badly that I would want to close down my TikTok channel. And for why? I didn't go through enough. You all didn't fail me enough. That you all would send a high-ranking police to try to gain my trust and then hurt me to the point where my knee was purple the last time I saw them. Because of them. If I had any faith left in the police service, I don't have any more. I can't believe you all would do that. Since the moment I took the chance and reported what that prison officer did to me, I have been the only one being investigated and being persecuted, you all would send an officer to pretend to be autistic, to gain my trust and then break my spirit so much that I would close down my channel. Just because, like, have I lied on anybody? I have been given a correct view of what it is like to go through the justice system. And you all would do that to try to shut me up. Knowing how much trauma I've been through, knowing how autistic and how hard it is for me to trust people. I will never trust the justice system again. I will never come to them for anything again. You all worse than the criminals. That you would send somebody to further traumatize already traumatized person. I have talked about being molested. I have talked about all kind of things happening to me. And then on top of that, the prison officer violated me. I have screamed on you and showed you all what the PTSD is like when I'm having it. And you all would send somebody to hurt me so bad that I would want to close down my TikTok channel. You all worse than the criminals. No matter what happens to me going forward, I would never come to the police for anything again. I have no faith or trust in you all again. You all are not the good people. You all are not the good people. And after what I have experienced with that individual, I hate the police 100 times more now. Like, even my recent interaction with prison officers wasn't as bad as some of the treatment I get from police. And I still wanted to believe that people who are supposed to carry out justice, some part of them must be good. But that you all would do that. Play with somebody who mine already struggling to go through everything that I'm going through because of being autistic. I will never, the PTSD will never leave. This will be me forever. I will be crying forever. And you would send somebody to put me through more trauma just to get rid of this channel, just to shut me up. That's unforgivable. Unforgivable.
The justice system in this country is an absolute disgrace. So the government is quite willing to put parents in prison if you take your child on holiday during term time, but you've got the likes of this man who was training to be a teacher, clearly wanting to get close to children for a reason, had over 1,000 of the most indecent images of children, including babies as young as 6 months old, but the judge did not give him a prison sentence because he said he didn't pose a risk to society. So please tell me how parents of children that take their kids away do pose a risk to society if you're willing to put them in prison over this. It's all one big corrupt cover-up. You cannot tell me that this judge's hands are clean. There is no hope for this country whatsoever. If you're not reprimanded for a crime as serious as this, it is not going to stop more from doing it when they realise that there is no punishment.
Wait, the officers are here. Here we go. You just come in here. I do not want no confrontation with you. We in court, we have a matter going on. So the lawyers them say, for me not have no confrontation, so I leave it. Right. Speak. I am a property, speak.
Right, you're Joel Book.
I am Joel Biku.
Right.
I'm the owner of this place. I'm the owner of here. Talk to me. I don't want no confrontation with this gentleman, right? Who you are? Who you are?
I am 12498 WPC branch. We are attached to Superior Municipal. This is 12660 WPC Bazi, okay?
Miss
Right,
Bazi.
I get to serve you.
Here what? Municipal Police. I just come off the phone with my lawyer. Here what? Are you all the summons officer? for the area.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, here, you can't drop that on the ground. That is not the way. All your conduct, all your paperwork. Watch here. Watch. And you all are not the summons officer. How I refuse? You all not the summons officer. You can't give me no summons. Summons officer work from Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, and not on Saturdays and Sunday and public holiday. Hello, I know the law. I just come on the phone with my lawyer. All you can't do that. Mr. Paul Police and Sapphire, all you can't do that. That is the way all you just do, give people summons. Hey, watch. That is the way all you just do summons in Sapphire. All you is not the summons person. I don't mind taking the summons from the correct police officer, but always municipal police, always not the summons officer. Watch it here. Live in Sapphire. No? Watch what? I don't want to have no confrontation with you, boss. Right? Watch. Look the summons there on the road. Watch it there. I'll leave it right in the ground there. I'm not taking that. They don't, and the officer just straight to me. He straight to me. I don't hear nothing from you, boss. Watch. Your garage here, you have nothing here. Just remember that. You have nothing. Look. So yeah, you know what's going on. You know what's going on. Watch it. Watch me. Right? When I ship by that all I go to buy coral, by all I have nothing here. Look the summons, they leave it there. I never get no summons. I never get no summons. If the summons police come, what you gonna do? Get lash me? You got lash me? Go do something?
Go upstairs. You're all on a sick.
All on a sick? Let me tell you something. Boy, Jason, I'll deal with all in the court, boy. I will deal with all in the court. You bring your friends from the Sapphire Municipal Police to give me a summons and they are not the summons officer. But if I go live here, where you feel?
That's how he drop you on any station, right? You know whoever. Who you know?
You bring it. It's not a business day, Monday to Friday.
The day I quit the cops, the supervisor says to me, "Hey, you know, I understand you're an educated person, and I respect that, and you probably look around here sometimes at all these knuckle draggers and wonder what you've gotten yourself into." But, well, I tried to interrupt him and explain to him that was not at all how I looked at things. They knew things. I wanted to know those things. I was perfectly happy to work for a living, and that's what I was there to do. He said, no. He says, that's fine. He says, they are a bunch of knuckle draggers, frankly. All of them are scrapping for a fight. I said, and you're a nice guy. Maybe that doesn't sit too well with you. I understand that. We've had nice guys before. But if you want to keep this job, you're going to need to change your personality. Because here's how it works. Somebody out there, they got some kind of problem, causes them to call 911, and their stress level's way up here. We arrive on the scene, and their stress level goes way down here. But if they had any sense at all, it'd be way up here. Because we are there to break things and hurt people, and you don't seem to understand that. I told him he was exactly right. I did not understand that it had taken me plenty of time to get even as psychologically healthy as I was. I was not a particularly nice person in my view, especially not lately, especially not since I took that job, and I was not about to get any worse. I told him I was as big of an asshole as I was ever going to get, and that I would just be finishing up my reports and I'd be out of there, and I never looked back. Frankly, it looked to me like a good route to prison.
Spotted an emergency. Subway. Ah boy. If the police don't fucking park correctly, how they fucking expect us to do it?
Hey there, so I heard about a child that supposedly froze and is no longer with us in the western North Carolina area. So you know, the reason this child froze to death was because the North Carolina government sent away relief efforts. If the North Carolina government would not have sent away the shelters, this child would not have died. So it is at the fault of North Carolina that this child has passed away. Any DSS entities coming to take children, you all need to stand strong against them and say, you're not taking our kids. You're going to give us due process like your policy says. You're going to use your resources to help us have a place to stay like your policy says. And you are going to stop feeding the funding and start using that funding to help the people, because if you continue to not help us, you're violating federal law, civil rights, you're violating fundamental and constitutional rights. And we can name you publicly because you are a public servant. Get these DSS workers' first and last names, please, and write them down and send them to me. This is a deeply tragic situation. It appears that multiple systematic failures contributed to the death of the baby and ongoing hardships. If parents want to represent themselves and hold the state accountable, they can consider pursuing legal action by filing claims that highlight violations of their constitutional and civil rights. Here are the potential steps you can take. Now, ChatGPT did all this, so please don't message me and say, hey, can you help me? Listen, you don't need me. All you need is a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. That's all you need, baby. I promise you. If you're not good at reading stuff, your phone can read that stuff to you. Go to your accessibility options. Go to settings, type in accessibility, go there, and it will read the screen to you, okay? Now, first it says file a federal civil rights lawsuit. And there's the code for it. You can ask ChatGPT, okay, I'm in North Carolina, so what's the case law that I would use, or what's the code I would use? Grounds for lawsuit. They can argue that the state, including Governor Cooper, DSS, or other agencies like Paul Polinsky, the overseer for DHHS. Paul Polinsky is the one that's supposed to be providing oversight for all these entities, and he's not. So, Roy Cooper, DSS, Paul Polinsky, and other agencies violated their constitutional rights under the 14th Amendment, right to due process and equal protection, by failing to provide basic relief and shelter. Steps to file. Draft a complaint clearly stating the facts. The governor's decision to redirect relief efforts. DSS lack of support. Complete, blatant disregard for their own policies or law. They act unethically under the color of law. How the government's actions and omissions caused harm, the specific constitutional rights violated. File the complaint. And here's the thing, ChatGPT can tell you everything violated. Just tell it, hey, can you tell me everything violated? Because I don't know all the laws. File a complaint in the federal district court of their area in North Carolina. I'm trying to read what all this says. Relief sought, they can compensatory damage. They can request compensatory damages for the loss and harm caused. Punitive damages to something for negligence. I can't see because the button's in my way. It don't go away until the video's over, which is so stupid. And injunction relief to prevent harm. And then we've got wrongful death claim against the state. Okay, wrongful death claim against the state. Hold on a minute. There we go. Wrongful death claim against the state. The parents can argue a wrongful death claim under state law, arguing that state's actions or inactions directly led to the conditions that caused their child's death. Steps to file. Submit a notice of claim to the North Carolina Industrial Commission under the North Carolina Tort Claims Act. ChatGPT can draft all this up for you. You basically just copy and paste. Make sure you tell it your story, detail for detail. Don't leave anything out. Tell it where you are, who you are, and that you are a Hurricane Helene survivor. So, draft the claim outlining how the state's negligence, not providing shelter, caused the death. Relief sought. They can seek monetary damages for pain, suffering, and funeral expenses. Mental anguish. They should file a motion for preliminary injunction in federal court if they can prove that ongoing state actions are causing irreparable harm to families. DSS removing children without providing resources. DSS, your job is to help these people. But you're being trained by your offices to do the very opposite because they're all corrupt. My husband has taught me, when you start a job, you need to read the policy manual so you know exactly what policies to act under. They don't even train those people to read the policy manual. So we've got, let's see, and then this motion could demand immediate restoration of relief efforts and make halt to DSS actions until the court reviews, whatever that word is, the case. And then we have, let's see, media and publicity advocacy while pursuing legal remedies. They can document their case and make it public to draw attention. Stop being afraid. Talk about your case. If they've already got your child, what else are they going to do? If your child dies in state's custody, you sue the state. It's a lawsuit anyway. Any way you go. So instead of being afraid to talk about your case, talk about your case. I don't care who's advocating for you. I don't care who your lawyer is. Talk about your case. It is illegal for them to retaliate. And if they do retaliate, that's going to work in your favor. So tell your story. Tell your story. You're allowed to talk about your case. All right. Contact local advocacy groups and organizations that support families facing government overreach. Request investigations from federal agencies like the Department of Justice, the DOJ, or the Office of Inspector General for Human and Health Services. Now, I reached out to the Inspector General of North Carolina and heard absolutely nothing. So the Department of Justice is who we need to reach out to. Everybody who's being affected by North Carolina's lack of integrity, please reach out to the Department of Justice. You can Google their address. You can call them. Prepare strong evidence. Gather evidence such as documentation of the government's orders. Well, we know that the order was made because it was on the news. And also, you can probably find something that says when the governor told them that you didn't need any more relief efforts. So let's see here. Proof of inadequate shelter and lack of DSS support, medical records or autopsy support showing the baby's cause of death, testimonies from other affected families, key points for filing pro se. Use resources like legal aid manuals or templates for filing federal and state claims. Learn about procedural rules for filing in both federal and state courts. Keep claims focused, factual, and well supported with evidence. And if you want to screenshot this, here you go. And my condolences go out to the families who have lost loved ones and who lost their children because of the cold in the night. I just want to say this. We have sat back for so long and let other people do what, baby, we are the ones that do now. We was kids 20 years ago. Okay? We're 30 and 40 years old. It's our time to do the work. Don't be afraid. Talk about your case. And when DSS workers come, say, excuse me, may I please have your first and last name? Write that first and last name. Get your camera out and say, by law, I have the right to video this interaction with you. You are a public servant of the state. And by federal law, I am allowed to video you. So if you want to say you don't want to be on camera, I'm sorry, but I have to protect my rights and I'm protecting yours. Now, you're not going to come here and threaten to take my child. That is also against the law. And I'm just going to show you. Threatening to take a child away from you with no proof of any type of abuse or harm is actually against the law. And they can't take your child without due process. So you need to let them know you're violating due process. You're also violating my amendment rights. You're violating my child's right. And you're causing reckless endangerment and emotional harm. Look at the emotional distress claims. Unfounded threats to remove children may constitute intentional infliction of emotional stress, IIED. Under civil law, if the threat is made maliciously or recklessly, causes severe emotional harm to the parents or child. And here are the laws broken when you threaten like that. And remember that lady I told y'all to reach out to? Don't forget to reach out to her and let her know. Laws are being broken. Y'all are acting under the color of law. This is unconstitutional, unethical, and I am going to make sure you are all held responsible. The regional office is not providing oversight. Paul Polinsky is not providing oversight. And we are going to make sure justice is served. I love you guys. Be strong.
I am in the premises of Magistrate Court 2, Oka, Anambra State. I am here with my client. You can see us. We are still in court. The Honorable Magistrate granted my client bail in a very simple offense. And my client met the conditions of the bail. But the clerks of court that I must give her 20,000 naira before she will take the records, the surety bond to the magistrate to sign. The clerk of the court also insulted me and called me names. This is the person that went to the magistrate for him to sign the document and return back and said that the magistrate said that he must bring 20,000 naira. Whether we like it or not, if there is no justice for the common man in the judiciary, there will not be justice anywhere. When somebody is granted bail, bail is free in the police station, in court. Nobody has rights to demand for any money before bail bond will be protected. I promise you, by Tuesday morning, I will return the money, 20,000 naira. Cash, I will return it. If I don't return it, don't come to me again as a lawyer.
Hey, so TTPS want to give out tickets for defective license plates. But look at fucking this. Come now, man.
All I want to know is where I could get one of these signs. I want one of these signs bad. Well, you see these signs? I need to have one of these signs bad. I feel on behalf of the citizens of this country too, I want to see where we can get these signs. Now, I suspect that this sign is really meant as a deterrent against the criminal elements. But what this sign inadvertently doing is it's sending the signal that if you rich and famous or you belong to the 1%, you could have the TTPS, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as your very own security firm protecting your interests. And that in itself sends the signals to people who poor and who don't have the necessary means to be protected by the TTPS. It's sending the signal that you're really worth nothing.
I just had to get on here for a second to talk about the news release from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city of almost 300,000. They decided to do a news release that the fact that they're only going to have 20 officers on the road between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. Great time for the bad guys to wreak havoc on the city. Burglaries, robberies, I mean, you name it. 20 officers will be tied up in a major city within the matter of minutes. But to release that and put it out there for everybody to hear is unbelievable to me. I'm going to play a clip from the news release and tell me what you think would you do in your city. The city council should be ashamed of themselves.
Rick, what was the big takeaway today?
Yeah, Susan, residents of the city will see a major change in the way police respond. They will no longer respond to calls that aren't considered in-progress emergency. That means calls like criminal mischief, theft, harassment, and most burglary alarms will all be handled by an enhanced telephone reporting unit. That means residents will file a police report over the phone. Officers will not respond unless it's an emergency. Also, between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., there will be no officers at any of the 6 stations throughout the city. Call boxes that link directly to 911 have been installed for people to use in case of an emergency. And during the overnight shift, there will be as few as 20 officers to cover the entire city. The chief said today the data supports that.
Yes, it's enough to cover the entire city in those hours when we have 8% of the time people are calling. I'm confident in the decisions that we make that it impacts this bureau and the city in a much better way than we have in the past.
Now, the chief also acknowledging today that some of these changes are due to staffing shortages. He's down to 740 officers, well below the 850 they would like to have. Now, coming up new at 5, residents, city council, and the police union all weighing in on these big changes that begin Monday. Live in the studio, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
The Canadian government is in full panic mode. The truth is coming out against the Canadian government and world governments. The Canadian government is one of the most corrupt criminal organizations on the face of this planet. Yes, I'm from Canada. And yes, I'm speaking out against the Canadian government and its corruption. You're going to be exposed, and you are being exposed for all the bullshit that you feed your citizens every single day. All the lies, all the poison, everything is coming crashing down on you like a sledgehammer, and you will not survive this one. Yesterday, the Canadian government is in full panic mode, knowing that they are being exposed, and they tried to implement a law where Canadians can no longer use TikTok or have access to the platform. That ain't gonna work. It's too late for you guys. Today, I'm starting to get ads on YouTube about TikTok and how there's a new filter for adults and children. So you can only see a certain amount of news on your feed. This was also implemented by the Canadian government to try and stop the younger generation from receiving truthful information via TikTok. You can't stop us. Your corruption has been exposed, and the simple fact that you tried to get TikTok banned in Canada just proves the truth that you guys are nothing but a corrupt criminal organization. You cannot stop us, and you will not stop us. Good luck to you, because it is over for you.